Hello everyone, Rosendahl here. Today's video is going to be all about the bow. I'm going to be covering PvE content like leveling, expeditions, or open world as well. Also going to be covering PvP, small scale PvP, as well as wars and things like that. So first off, the bow has been my most used weapon in all of New World. It is my first mastery level 20. I've been using it pretty much non-stop since the release, as well as closed beta and the open beta. The thing I like about the bow the most is I feel that it requires a lot of skill to use. It's a projectile. You have to think about leading your shot as well as the arrow drop. I love the high damage that it can put out, as well as the AoE potential. So first off, I'm going to start out with leveling. So if you guys are still leveling, this is pretty much what I would recommend. This is what I ended up using, and I mean, I'm not saying that this is what you have to use, but I think it's great for just single target as well as AoE. So first off, straight off the bat, I'd probably pick up penetrating shot. It's pretty much instant, so you don't have to pull it back or anything. What I like to do is take a heavy shot and then instantly into the penetrating shot, because you can get like 2 arrows off quickly. Huge damage just comes out. So yes, I would probably take this one right off the bat. I then would jump over to this side, skirmisher side, and I'd pick up evasive tactics. So after you dodge, you get 20% more damage. I then would pick up rain of arrows. There's going to be a lot of scenarios where you're going into landmarks that have a lot of mobs close to each other. Like you try to pull one, but then it ends up pulling like 3, and rain of arrows is going to help taking these big groups out. So straight after rain of arrows, I'd pick up poison shot. So these are pretty much your 3 abilities that you're going to be using throughout all of leveling, I'd say. You can work with rapid shot as well. The thing I do not like about rapid shot is the fact that you have to stand there and commit for these 3 shots where you can't move. You're stuck there and you want to get all 3 shots off. Whereas rain of arrows, you do stop for a second, but it's a quick second and you just shoot it off and then you're able to move. The 3 abilities that I would recommend, and you get them pretty much right off the bat. Within level 4 of your weapon, you have all 3 abilities. Straight after poison shot, I would take one of these 2. The one that I end up taking is Archer's Speed, because it lasts longer for 5 seconds compared to just 2 seconds. After Archer's Speed, I'd pick up Mark, deal 10% damage to foes suffering from debuffs. So that's going to work with your poison shot and your rain of arrows once you get barbed arrows. So this is going to make your rain of arrows cause a bleed 12 seconds. This will also work with Mark. So I think Mark is a definite pickup here. So usually once I get to about here, I'm going to move back over to the hunter tree. I'd pick up long range, deal 20% damage to foes at least 10 meters away. This is perfect for that initial opening before the mobs start running at you. After that, I'd pick up finishing shot. So once they're below 50% HP, you're going to be dealing 20% more damage to finish them off. I then would pick up opening strike. So heavy attacks deal 20% more damage when the foe is at 100%. This is perfect for the first shot that you take. So this is what I was trying to say earlier, is I start with a heavy attack and then immediately into a penetrating shot. So you go boom, boom, and you get 2 arrows off quickly, and it's huge damage. Huge initial damage. So after opening strike, I'd pick up surprise attack. So this also pairs with opening strike. You haven't damaged a foe in the last 10 seconds, deal 20% extra damage. So this is huge damage that you're going to be putting off on the enemy when you first initially start. It's huge damage. This combo right here. After that, I'd pick up bullseye for that 10% crit chance. I then would get blood soaked arrow and then deep strike. So this is going to make penetrating shot deal so much more damage. After that, I'd pick up aim true again for that heavy attack. It flies faster as well as 30% more damage, which is insane. That initial shot is going to be doing so much damage. I then would pick up arrow range and then immediately into concussion. So once you get to concussion, this is kind of where I'd say you can kind of choose your last couple, because I wouldn't say there's like a necessary one to choose. You can go for more damage resistance while you're aiming. I tend to go back over into the skirmisher tree and I pick up infected arrows, causing your poison damage to do a little bit more. You could also pick up direct hit, poison shot to deal more damage if you hit directly. You could also take the passive closing in, battling precision. The options are kind of endless here. Just go with what you think would work best with your type of playstyle. You could also get dodge and weave if you want that extra movement speed. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's any for sure ones that you would want to take. It just really depends the way that you play. And again, none of this is 100% what you have to take. This is just what I recommend works the best, and I pump out so much damage consistently, and I'm able to solo content, even though sometimes it does feel very difficult, but this gives me the best chance I got. So the fun thing about running this build here is this build works with so much more than just leveling. I use this build in expeditions because the AoE potential is insane. When people get a bunch of groups together and you just wipe them out with penetrating shot, rain of arrows, as well as poison shot, you're dealing so much damage and to all the enemies. What's so great about this is all three of these abilities can be single target as well as multi-target. You can AoE people down like crazy with these three abilities. So this build, I'd say, isn't just for leveling. This can be for grouped content as well, like expeditions and invasions. Pretty much run this for everything. So if you do choose to end up flagging while leveling, I'd say pretty much run exactly what I had before, but instead you're going to be getting evade shot. I think evade shot is great for that small scale PvP. So when you're out there leveling and you run into somebody who's also flagged and they come in at you, evade shot is so good to make more distance between your enemy. So make sure to change out of rain of arrows and pick up evade shot, I'd say. So a leveling PvP build would probably look something like this. So this build here would work perfect for that small scale PvP to gain a little more distance between your enemy. You got your poison shot, which is so strong against enemies, because even if you do miss your shot by like a little bit, you will still poison them. So sometimes if they're bobbing and weaving and you're not sure you can hit your shot perfectly, you can just aim at the ground near them and it will poison them, and then that's just ticking damage that they can't really get rid of. So I think poison shot is definitely a take. I do see a lot of people run rapid shot as well for that small scale PvP, but again, I just do not feel comfortable standing still that extra time, taking those 3 shots. You're locking your feet into the ground, take those 3 shots. It is insane damage, but I just don't think it's worth it. I take penetrating shot over rapid shot because this is an instant thing you can use and it just does so much damage. You could also remove something here and take Hawkeye for that a little bit of heal if you actually do hit your headshots. But again, everything is kind of personal preference here. This is just my recommendation. So for big scale PvP like wars or even open world big groups of PvP, if you're zerging around with big groups and you know you're going to be running into big groups as well, I'd say evade shot isn't really worth it at that point. So what I run for big scale PvP is kind of what I've already shown you guys. So you want to be running penetrating shot, you want to run rain of arrows, poison shot, finishing shot, surprise attack. Again, pretty much all the same things that I just showed you guys. You want to run all these. For this last one, again, it's kind of personal preference on what you think you need. But what I end up running is hooked arrows. So I enjoy giving that slow. So in big groups where I know I'm going to be slowing a bunch of these enemies, they can't really move away, you just want to shoot your rain of arrows in that group PvP. Like if they're on flag, like if you're in a war and they're on the flag, you can shoot these rain of arrows just straight onto them so they don't have any really chance of running away. It's perfect. So this is the build that I'd run. Big group PvP. I'd say a lot of these builds are very similar, with just like a change of like one ability or like 1 or 2 passives. And this is what's so great about the bow is I think these 3 abilities alone are so strong that you can use these in so many different scenarios. Doesn't matter if it's PvE or PvP. And this is what I find to be pumping out the most damage. I pull aggro on bosses consistently. In wars, I am topping the charts. I am either like 1, 2, or 3, or 4, sometimes 5, like up on all damage between both teams. I'm just pumping out so much damage, and this is what I'm running. So this is kind of the general kind of gist of what I've been running and what I recommend running. I know they're very similar, but you guys just have to give it a shot. It's just so much damage, and trust me, it's definitely worth it, and you're going to be pumping out so much damage. So for the gem that I've been using for the bow, it actually is the pristine opal. It causes your weapon to deal 15% more damage while your stamina is not full. It pairs so perfectly with evasive tactics. where after you dodge, you deal 20% more damage. So you're going to be dodging a lot, therefore keeping that passive up a lot, where you're dealing 15% more damage because you're not at full stamina. Another recommendation as a gem, if you're not interested in using the pristine opal, would be diamond, where you deal 15% more damage while at full health. So since you're kind of in the back, hopefully you're at full health initially, you're going to be dealing that 50% damage consistently while you're at full health. Yeah, so I'd say it's either the opal or the diamond. Another one you can use is the onyx. A lot of people like to use the onyx because it just makes that initial damage just so strong, that 30% damage against targets with full health. So in PvP as well as PvE, that initial shot will be so strong. You're going to be dealing so much damage on the opening shot. But I personally enjoy using the opal because, again, I'm rolling around a lot, keeping that evasive tactics up, therefore dealing the 15% more damage while my stamina is not full. So that's the weapon gem I would recommend. For armor, it's kind of personal preference for armor. It really depends what you think you're dying a lot from. If you're dying from physical damage or elemental damage, it really depends if it's PvE or PvP. If for PvP, if your server has a lot of, you know, great axes and stuff like that, then, you know, you might want that physical damage or even that strike damage absorption. Again, it's all personal preference on the armor. It really depends what you think you need the most. While we're talking about armor, I've been running light armor. So I have a medium chest and then everything else is light. It keeps me within that light whip load. I'm going to be dealing so much more damage, that 20% bonus damage, and you have that quick roll, which gives you so much mobility. I do see a lot of bow users use medium armor as well. I personally don't like it. I just really enjoy that roll, and I also want to just put out as much damage as possible. I do know that you do get 10% bonus damage as well, even with the medium armor, 10% more by running light, and I think it's so worth it. Again, if you feel like you're dying too quickly, you don't roll around a lot, and you're just kind of standing there taking your shots, then maybe work with medium. Try it out. I personally enjoy light. So for weapon combos with the bow, this is something that I've been fooling around with for a while now. I'm trying to figure out what I want to use. I want to find out what works best with it, with PvE as well as PvP. I've tried a lot of different combos. I tried sword and shield, I tried rapier, I've tried hatchet, I've tried spear, I've tried the musket. I've tried a lot of these. So for just leveling and stuff, I'd say you'd probably want to run either the rapier or the spear. If you're solo, I do enjoy using the hatchet. I find the hatchet with berserk gives you so much healing, and then once you get to that defy death, then you're pretty much unstoppable. Like, you won't die. You're able to kill those couple mobs and then heal up with berserk or just food or potions. So yeah, I'd say maybe run the hatchet if you're solo early on. Even late game, I've been running the hatchet for solo. The rapier is also a lot of fun to use and puts out insane damage, but I personally have been using the spear. I know the spear is only level 17 for me because I was using the rapier for so long. I've now switched to the spear, and I find it to be the best. It has so much control, and I find it pairs really well with the bow. But for that big group content PvP, I have been running the musket. The bow and musket paired together in like wars and stuff have been so great because I'm not obviously in the front lines, so I don't need a spear. I don't need a melee weapon because for the most part, I'm not in anyone's face. So having two ranged weapons is perfect. I use the musket for that instant damage. You know, it's a hit scan weapon, so as long as I'm aiming on them, I'm hitting them. So I think the musket pairs well with the bow in wars, especially for that big scale PvP. I'm not going to dive into any builds for the offhand weapons that I've been using. If you guys are interested in me making a guide on those weapons, then please let me down below. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys maybe learned something from this video. If you guys liked the video, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and a subscribe. I'm going to be posting a lot of New World content. Like always, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying New World, and I'll see you next time.